Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's the big one, Scotland against England. Gonzo, how you feeling?
I'm confident. Are you confident, Geo?
No. But anyway, forget that for 1 second. Before we get into it, this football... no, let's start the whole thing again. I got that wrong.
No. Good.
Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's match preview of Scotland against England. It is the big one, the massive one.
It's a massive one.
How are you feeling, Gonzo?
Oh, big. Happy and confident. Are you feeling confident?
No.
Oh.
Not at all, really. But we'll get on to that in just a second. Before we do, Gonzo, what's your favourite football app?
My favourite football app is the One Football. No, I'm joking. I love the One Football app because I use it all the time. I really do use it all the time. They used to sponsor us. Then they stopped sponsoring us, and I carried on using the One Football app. We use it for our build-up shows, right? Am I right? When the teams come out. And what you can do is you can configure it so you don't have to get any Tottenham news or anything like that. So mine is literally configured for West Ham news and England news. So those are the updates I get. Not only that, but actually when you log on to the app, that's the only stuff I get. So it's a rundown. They basically aggregate all the news for you for your favourite football teams. So so for you, Geo, you would obviously just you would tick West Ham and obviously England as well. Anyway, you can use the link below, please. If you're going to download it and you haven't done so already, please use the link below down there.
I think I might unfollow Scotland. I was West Ham and Scotland. Euro 2020 competition. I'm debating unstarring Euro 2020 competition. I'm not sure when I keep up to date with all the news for that anymore. But it is a fantastic app. Like Gonzo said, sponsored us ages ago. They stopped sponsoring us, but we still kept using it. And every build-up show we do, that is what we use to get the lineups for West Ham and the oppositions. So when the lineups come out for Euro 2020, the One Football app is the first place to get them. So get downloaded, completely free, links in description and the pinned comments. But Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on your opponent, Scotland, please?
Oh, Scotland. I'll tell you things about Scotland. I watched them play the other day. They played in a football match. Alas, they lost. But I didn't think they played badly. It has to be said, Gio. I didn't think they played badly at all. I think their goal. They might be changing goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper's still scrambling around in the back of a net. He's like a fish caught in a trawler, quite frankly. So hopefully Scotland have got another one. They've got a guy called McGinn, who's very good. He's very good. We've seen him play before. He plays for Aston Villa. Thought he played very, very well. They've got a guy called Robertson, who is fantastic. I mean, he's really, really good. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot. And it's just danger. It should be alarm going off every time he has the opportunity to cross the ball. Really like him. They got better players than you'd think. They got McTominay. Funny enough, I thought it was McGinn that impressed in midfield. And they've got a player I've never heard of. He's got he's got bleached blonde hair. He's called Dick. He looks pretty good as well. They got some good players. Che Adams at the start, I noticed, by the way. Ryan Fraser, you sort of want him. He shapes, he dunks and dives a little bit like he's going to dribble and beat somebody, and he doesn't. He just sort of loses the ball, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, I thought Clark bottled it. I thought Steve Clark bottled it on Monday with the team selection. I don't think he picked the best team. I think O'Donnell, the right wing back, for those you don't know, I think Ryan Christie, who was sort of playing up front alongside Dykes, I thought they possibly deserved the opportunity. They were, playing every game in the qualifiers. So I get why he's stuck with those players, but they're no longer the best players, I don't think. They're no longer the best option for Scotland, for the reasons that since then, obviously Che Adams has pledged allegiance to Scotland, and we've had the emergence of a young lad coming through at Rangers, and even then, there's still debates about the midfield. If you pick the right midfield, the back three doesn't work without Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney is pivotal to our back three because he comes out with the ball. Against Czech Republic, we had three static centre-backs, and then, of course, you saw what happened. Jack Henry's then the one that comes out with the ball and shoots from 45 yards, and then it got ricocheted off the defense, ricocheted off Souček of all players, and then I saw someone lob the goalie from 50 yards, and I'm sick of seeing it. Ha! Like what I've done there. But I thought we'd done well against Czech Republic. I thought we played quite well. I thought the lads gave it everything. But we're just, I say it to everybody, we are one top striker away from being a decent team. We don't have a decent striker. We created enough chances to win that game, but Dykes missed 3 decent chances, and it's just lacking that quality. You've got one of the best. Well, statistically, Andy Robertson has created the most chances at Euro 2020 so far. We have a fantastic creator out on the left wing, but just no one to put the ball in the back of the net. But I thought we played well, but the problem is,
can I say something on Scotland?
Yeah.
I thought the guy that took the shot, I mean, people were blaming him for the goal. Hold on, steady on, right? You've been knocking at the door, nearly scoring, hitting the bar and all the rest of it. The keeper, by the way, the keeper played magnificently. Let's just say that, right? That keeper pulled off at least 2 saves that were top notch, really good, right? At that point, you're thinking someone's got to have a shot, right? So the guy had a shot. Good. He should have had a shot, right? But I looked at it. I mean, he's getting, and it was the BBC, and I watched their coverage afterwards, and they had a Scottish presenter, and they had 2 Scots as the pundits. Now it's really funny because I'm not, even in England games, they'll put someone from the opposition team on there, or they'll, you know what I mean? They'll say, oh, for the England game, you had Roy Keane on there, it had nothing to do with nothing. So it was really funny. It was really partisan, and they slaughtered the fella for having a shot and this goal. They basically blamed this guy for this goal that you're never going to see again in 50 years. I felt right sorry for him, to be honest with you.
To add context to your argument, you wouldn't know this. He scored from about 25 yards out against the Netherlands last week in a friendly.
Oh, did
25 yards. Yeah, 25 yards out or something. From a similar sort of point, in line with the post roughly, but a bit further forward, he hit it, and he hit it like that, and it flew into the bottom corner. So I understand why he's feeling it. It was him that hit the crossbar earlier in the game as well. He got it laid off. It was him that took the shot that hit the crossbar. So I can understand why he got a bit of confidence. Marshall probably shouldn't be standing there. And B, that guy can take that shot 100 times again and just never score it. It's just a ridiculous shot. But anyway, players you admire, you've mentioned a couple. Is there any others that you want to mention before we... I'll give you what I'd like to see.
Well, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear about your opinions on them, because you know a lot more about it than I do, clearly. But I like the lad Gilmore at Chelsea. I would think he's talented enough to be involved in some way. But as I say, would he play in a similar position to begin? He was very impressive throughout. I really was hugely impressed with him, actually. And I know Tierney is a good player. And when you say that, because I know you've obviously got an issue where you've basically got 2 really good left backs, so you're trying to shoehorn them into a team, which he's done. He's basically done an Aaron Cresswell, hasn't he? Really. So, yeah. And so that's great as well. So you do, but Robertson, I can't stress this highly enough. And we'll get onto that. We speak to England. He's going to need to be dealt with.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Tierney and Robertson thing was funny because when Clark first took over and he'd done that, he put Tierney left centre back and Robertson left wing back, and it just wasn't working. Robertson himself, I can't remember what game it was. It was a pivotal game. We didn't win. I think we drew. It might be Israel away or something. And Robertson said, "Scotland have got 2 fantastic left backs, and neither of us are playing left back." And it was very much like, sort this out, Will. We pick one of us and bench one of us or something. Yeah. But it actually works now. It now works, and it's helped massively because Kieran Tierney's played left centre back for Arsenal in the Europa League and stuff. So it's actually, he's sort of developed the role at club football, whereas prior, he was coming to Scotland, having never played centre-back before. Robertson has never played left wing-back. It was new to them both. They work really well together. Kieran Tierney's pivotal. I would keep Marshall in goal. I think, I can understand why people would drop him and stuff. But I think, while the Czech Republic keeper made some really good saves, I thought Marshall made a couple of fantastic saves as well. And during the qualifiers, I think he's an unbelievable shot stopper, and he sort of knows how to slow the game down a little bit. He's decent enough at coming for crosses. The back 3, the only change I would make is take Grant Hanley out. I don't like Grant Hanley very much. And I'd put Kieran Tierney in, keep Cooper and Henry in there. I thought they did well enough against...
So why didn't Tierney play?
He was injured. He would have played. He would have been 100% sure. Robertson left wing back. Right wing back, I would go for the young lad Nathan Patterson. It would be a gamble from Clark. O'Donnell's obviously a favourite of his. He had him at Kilmarnock. He played every single qualifier. but he's just not good enough. I thought he looked poor. I thought he was one of our poorest players against Czech Republic. Down the right-hand side, there was times we were going forward. We literally chose not to pass to him. We just wouldn't pass to him. He's just not good enough. Armstrong had that shot that got deflected onto the roof of the net. The pass was there to give it to O'Donnell. That was on the other side. That was Robertson. He 100% passes that. He says, there you go. You cut in and do something. But he didn't because it's him. He said, no, I'm taking this shot on. We've got to get Patterson on. I think he's played about 10 games for Rangers. He's hardly played any football. But he's tipped for big things for Rangers. The only way he can't get in the squad, he's up against Taverner, Rangers captain, best players, probably one of the top goal scorers, penalty taker. It's hard to get into that team for him. But he's got a bit of everything about him. He gets forward well. He's got a bit of aggression. And it is a risk. And although there's only the second fixture, we've got to take risks now. We need a win against England or Croatia. Scotland need at least one win and pray that that's enough to get us into the top 4 third-place teams. We've got to get a win. So I put Patterson in there. Clark has tried his trusted team. It didn't work. We played well, but it just didn't quite work. So now he's got to try, I think, a risky team. And against Croatia, he's almost got to do a hybrid of the two. He's then got to find his best 11. He should already know it. He thinks what we did on Monday was his best team. I'm not convinced. Middle of the park, I'd keep McTominay in there. I'd keep McGinn in there. I'd maybe take out Armstrong and put Billy Gilmore in there, actually. I do think, while Armstrong's decent, Gilmore, made appearances for the side that's just gone on and won the Champions League. He's getting into the team up against players that cost 50, 60 million pounds. He's getting into that team on merit. He's got something about him. I've got a fear he will play Cal McGregor. I think that's what he will do. But I would go with Gilmore. Then up front, I think I'd stick with Dykes. He's not a natural goal scorer. He doesn't get enough for QPR, doesn't get enough for Scotland. But I do think he's so big, he's so good in the air. He allows you to ping a 40-yard clearance and he gets on the end of it. But I would start Che Adams next year. I thought Adams and Dykes linked up really well when Adams come on. I thought we looked dangerous when them two were close together. As soon as Dykes went for it, Adams was knowing where to run, waiting for the second ball. And I would put, obviously, Che Adams up front alongside Dykes as well. And I think, well, we'll get on to how we think the game will go. But that's what I'd like to see from Clark. I don't think he'll do that. He's got to make a couple of changes, though. We were unlucky, but unlucky doesn't get you out of the group. Goals and points do. Anyway, England team. Would you like to see any changes for this match?
I think I would, Gio. And I've got to say, I'm not entirely sure what I would change, but something needs to change for the pure and simple reason. And we're in dangerous territory, England, because Southgate will feel vindicated. So the temptation is for him to do the same. But I will tell you now, Scotland will be better than Croatia were. And the longer I reflect back on that game, the poorer Croatia seemed to be to me. I think that was a terrible team. And we scraped a 1-0 against them. And I expected a 1-0 as well. So he's going to need to do something, but unfortunately for him, he's going to need to do twofold. He needs to do something with the attack because it wasn't penetrative enough. And he needs to do something with the defence as well because he has to sort out Robertson, which means he's got to be a little bit creative, but it's odd. So I think straight away you're starting Reece James for me, just for his performance in the but Robertson's going to be starting from further back than that. So really the question is, who are you playing in front of Reece James? Because that actually becomes quite important because that person is either going to have to track Robertson or get to a point where he then hands him over to Reece James.
I think what he does, that guy has to track Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney will run. Our strength is Robertson and Tierney. 90% of if Tierney's fit, which Clark has suggested he is, Tierney is fit for Friday night. Expect 90% of our attacks come down our left. Kieran Tierney run. And when I say runs, I mean he runs 70 yards. He comes flying out of that defence. He gives it to Robertson and runs. And then Robertson's got the right back in front of him. And then you're sort of suggesting to your opponent's right winger, who they're not always the best at tracking back. So say you had Phil Foden there, you're saying to Phil Foden, are you going to run 70 yards after Kieran Tierney? If not, John Stones is going to have to come out and cover you, and then that presents a problem for you defensively. We missed Tierney a lot against Czech Republic because Robertson was excellent, and that was without a runner. That's without any support. Robertson was on having a one-on-one battle with Soufal, especially, and I thought they both played excellent. It's very rare that you see immediate opponents both have excellent games. I think your problem is, if you want to call upon, someone's going to have to watch Kieran Tierney.
Well, then it's it still throws up the same issue, whether it's Robertson and Fraser down there, or it's Tierney coming through again. It's still inherently the left, and it still throws a problem up that, can you put someone to attack in there? Because they're going to have to, whatever they do, they're going to have to help Reece James out, which gives you. You mentioned one with Stones. Yes, that's one. That's one thing. The other thing is maybe you look how well Phillips played. Phillips can have to move over from that central position, and the moment you get the ball and your centre half start moving it across to the left, we're going to have to move over as a unit. I wouldn't be surprised actually to see him because of that. He shouldn't do, and I don't think he will. But if in the we look on the One Football app an hour beforehand and it says Jordan Henderson's in the team, that wouldn't surprise me because he knows Robertson's game. He will play on the right side of midfield and he will go over there the moment you have the ball. But I still think it poses a bit of a problem with somebody like Phil Foden, who has immeasurable talent, but one of the talents he doesn't have, which is tracking, getting back, tackling, and all the rest of it. So I think something's going to need to be done there. I'm not entirely sure, in all honesty, what it should be, because that's one thing I don't think we do have. Funny enough, I don't think we got a Gerard Bowen there, if you know what I mean, for England. It's what Sancho going to do that? No,
Mason Mount.
He would, and I did think about that, but then you're taking his quality away from the middle. But that probably would be the thing to do. Actually, I think that is a good suggestion. Yeah, he's probably the one guy that has enough quality. But will work hard. But then obviously the onus is when we do have the ball, then Reece James has really got to try and overlap him and give him an option so we can cross from the right, which I'm more confident he'll do than Walker.
Left back, Kieran Trippier started against Croatia. Do you want to see that changed? I
do, but he won't change it. I'd love to see Chilwell play there. I would.
That's 100% our weak side.
If
I was England, I'd be just coming down your left side, our right. Well, stay away from Robertson and Tierney. No point. I mean, you can go up against O'Donnell, who looked poor against Czech Republic, and they didn't really test him that much. If I was England, I'd be flying down your left every single time you get the ball. Just go down there because he will make mistakes. He did against Czech Republic. He miscontrolled the ball, or he'd be 5 yards out of position or something, and just allows you to get in. I think you'd have unbelievable success coming down that side. Middle, take it Rice and Phillips retain a starting spot for yourself.
Well, I think both of those are undroppable. Rice because he's the main man for a long time. Phillips because of the game he's just played. I think both of them are undroppable.
And what about Raheem Sterling then? I thought he had a poor game. Got a goal, but a poor game. So do you leave him in because he got his goal, or do you drop him because he was poor? Because obviously you've got Mr. Jack Grealish sat on the bench.
Yeah, I think you've got to drop him. And I think this is where he has to be brave. I think this is where he has to be really brave here, Southgate, because this is a different game. This poses different problems. And we've spoken about Tierney, and we've spoken about Robertson, and we've spoken about your left-hand side. And rightly so, England should be concerned with that. Your left-hand side. Rightly, England should be concerned with Scotland's left-hand side for all the reasons we just stated. And we discussed it. How can they counteract that, and what can they do? Well, let's give Scotland something to think about. And I tell you what, they have a lot more to think about if you're putting Chilwell and Grealish down that side than if you're putting Trippier and Sterling. Guaranteed 100%. As I actually think Clark, who's a clever man, will put a tactical plan into place that can pretty much thwart, which is really only the attacking threat of Sterling, because Trippier doesn't really provide one when he plays on that side. I think you can have all the playing in the world for Jack Grealish, and particularly if you've got Jack Grealish there drawing a foul, and then you've got Chilwell bombing past him and putting crosses in, then you do have a tactical problem for Scotland. So this surely is what it's all about. Don't play it safe. Let's pose them a tactical problem.
What about up front then? Harry Kane he didn't really get much opportunity against Croatia, but I think defensively, out of possession, I don't think there's going to be too much difference between Croatia and Scotland. I think you can expect us to sit back in our box, 5 at the back essentially, 3 in midfield. We're going to clog up the pitch, and there's not going to be much room for you in the middle. And obviously our centre-backs, they're quite good in there. We conceded a goal from a header, but when you look at that Czech Republic header, it was just a fantastic cross and a fantastic header. There wasn't even in the box. I don't think there was much fault there. I think the centre-backs were in the right position. They jumped at the right time. Unfortunately, it was a pinpoint cross and stuff. So you keep Kane in. or do you gamble? Because obviously Kane's your best striker, but is he the best option?
Again, I think he is undroppable in that sense, and not because of Southgate. I think whoever's in there, he is absolute class. Again, it's up to South. I mean, again, Southgate has got massive problems if he cannot find the best way to get the team playing around Harry Kane. Well, what are you doing, mate? You know, and we discussed it. This will be the third video we discussed it. It's quite clear. Now, both those options, by getting Reece James, they're overlapping, by getting Chilwell in, immediately play more to Harry Kane's strengths. And you have to give them something to think about. And also, let's be perfectly honest with you, because of the composition of his squad, what are his options? Well, Calvert-Lewin. You can't start Calvert-Lewin ahead of Harry Kane. I mean, inherently, Calvert-Lewin is very good in the air, but he's not rapid. He's not 10 out of 10 pace, right? Well, Harry Kane's very good in the air. You just got to start crossing it in there. I mean, he's not a little guy. What's Harry Kane, 6'1", something like that? Clark Cross not got the leap of Calvert-Lewin, admittedly. But if you're going to put crosses in there, you still keep Harry Kane in there, which just sort of leaves you with the other options, which are, was he going to play Rashford up front? Well, there's no point. There's not going to be any space in behind. You're not going to be playing the offside trap on the halfway line. So where's the space? It's really clear what Southgate's got to do. And if it gets to the end of Southgate can't see what he's got to do, and we can all see it, but he can't, then crikey, England have got problems, you know?
You feeling confident?
No, I don't think I am, actually. No. Are you?
Why not? No, I'm not. Mainly because of Clark's team selection. I do feel he got the team selection wrong Monday. While we played well, I thought O'Donnell had almost nothing to do with us playing well, if you like. And I just felt that we missed a massive opportunity. When you play wing backs, I think your wing backs have to be good. They have to provide something offensively and defensively. Yeah. And I don't think he was in the worst defensively, O'Donnell, but certainly going forward, I thought he was limited. At one point, Ryan Christie skinned two players on his own, cut inside, got into the box, and O'Donnell got in his way, and he literally bumped into him, and he was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you here? Get out of my space! I'm trying to do something." So I'm not confident at all. I saw the 10-15 minutes at the start that you had against Croatia. I watched that, and I thought, if you play like that against us, you'll be 3-0 up at halftime. And you will be 3-0 up at half time. But there was times against Czech Republic, I felt that we did okay. We do concede possession a lot. Croatia were good at slowing the game down at times against England. I thought sometimes they get the ball in defence, we just knock it about for a couple of minutes, just take the pace out of the game, just push England back a few. We're a bit impatient for that. We get the ball, we do a couple of passes, and it's almost like we get itchy feet. The centre back flicks it to the side, gets the head up, looking for Dykes, saying, "Where are you, mate?" Launch it onto his head and try and get something. And I don't mind that to some extent, because we're just not as good as England. As simple as that. If you guys turn up, put in a 10 out of 10 performance, we get beat 3-4-0. It's regardless of how well we play, because you're better than us. There's probably one player in our team who get into your team on a fully fit, everyone in form day. Robertson probably gets in, and that's about it. Everyone else doesn't. But if you turn up and your attitude isn't quite right, which I've seen with some England teams, we will make it difficult for you, because our boys will run for everything. They will give 100%. They will close it. They'll probably let you have the ball in your own half. As soon as you step into our half, we're going to chase you down. Any high ball up front, Dykes will challenge for it. Even if he's got no chance of getting it, he's still going to jump and try and barge your defender out the way, kind of thing. McGinn, McTominay, whoever else is in there, whether it's McGregor, Gilmour, Armstrong, they'll chase everything. They'll hassle every centre midfielder. Alex Carl, West Ham, massively linked with him. He looked crap against Scotland on Monday. I think that's partly down because to McTominay, Armstrong, again, I thought they played well. There's just not a lot of creativity in our team. Our creativity relies heavily on Andy Robertson at the minute. If we can get Kieran Tierney back, okay, they're both down the same side, but we'll create a few chances, but we will only create a few, and we've got to make one of them count, or at least one of them count. And I just hope. I think our game will predominantly be keep a clean sheet and then hope we get something. If not, we get 0-0. I think he offered Clark 0-0 right now. He'd bite your arm off for it, because he says that's okay. We beat Croatia. We're in the next round. Simple as that. But no, I'm not very confident. I'm optimistic.
And you're looking forward to the game? as an event?
I will be until Friday. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I cannot explain how sick I felt yesterday before the game. My nerves were just shot to pieces. First major tournament in 23 years, and we concede a 50-yard goal to the goal of the tournament. I thought, how Scotland is this? But I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it and stuff. And I'm just, if they turn up and the boys put in a performance to be proud of, that's all we can ask for, really. We're not expected to win. The heavy favourites are on England. The pressure's on England for this one. If you win this, it means that Southgate can rest the players against Czech Republic and lose the game, finish second, and have an easier tie in the next round, kind of thing. But yeah, I'm optimistic, but not very confident.
No. I mean, these games here, these are interesting for England. England are very experienced at this in all sports because everyone hates the English. So what you get is you'll hear from Scotland that this is the one we want to win. And in Scotland, we'll talk about the last time they beat England and then the last time they played England again. But we have it all the time. We play Wales in the rugby, this is the one we want to win. Australia in the cricket, this is the one we want to. Do you know what I mean? Ireland, this is the one we want. Everybody wants to beat. So, it always, you can never predict what happens because it goes one or two ways. I mean, always goes one or two ways. You either get a level of performance because everyone wants to beat England, where they give. Well, you always get the level of performance, right? So they give 100%, and they really go for it and give everything. They leave the pitch, whatever sport it's in, with nothing left in the tank. But it goes either that additional energy that they put in either is enough to swat England aside and they win the game. I've seen it so much. I've seen it in football. I've seen Ireland decimate England at rugby. I've seen, it's the same thing, by the way. England have got a big pool of players in rugby, much bigger than Wales or Ireland or Scotland, to pick from, in a much the way that, England have got the Premier League. We've got more players to pick from, so we should do, but, and they're just such as the endeavour that it swats England aside and England get heavily beaten by Wales, by Ireland, by Australia, by anyone, right? Happens in all sorts. The other thing that sometimes happens is sometimes these teams come in too hyped up and they actually lose I don't mean discipline as in necessarily red cards, but they lose their tactical discipline and actually it almost becomes a non-contest in that. So, but I do think it can go either way, Geo, and I think
I don't think it'll be the latter for us. I don't think it'll be the latter for us because we qualified for this through a semi-final and a final format. So we put Israel out in the semis and we went to the final away to Serbia, again, with better players than us, and we've got that Milinkovic-Savic in there that plays, I don't know where he plays now, but he's worth 50, 60, 70 million
was
pounds.
In Italy, wasn't he? Played in Italy somewhere.
Yeah. So they arguably a better person as Serbia. They were the favourites for the game. And we gave 100%. They will block end it. And we are almost like Burnley when it comes to football. We will throw ourselves in the way of anything. We will win ugly. And then we went to penalties and stuff like that. And that took discipline. That took effort. It took like a real mental strength because obviously Scotland have had 23 years of bottling it, 23 years of messing it up. Sometimes we've got so close and just missed out. And we overcame all that to get to the Euros. So I don't think it'll be the latter. I don't think we'll be too hyped up. But if anything against Czech Republic, I thought the first 10 minutes, I thought we were nervous. I think you could tell it was our first major tournament. It was obviously for a lot of the players. And I thought you could tell Scott McTominay played for Man United. He was the one that was getting his head up, puffing his chest and saying, I do this week in, week out. I'll stroll about with it. But then you had Grant Hanley of Norwich City, dodgy first touch, gives it to Donald, Motherwell, dodgy first. And you thought these players, you can tell, they're just not quite used to the big city. But we've almost had that now. That's gone. Nerves have got to be settled. But essentially, we don't win on Friday. A win against Croatia still might not be enough to finish third. So it's all or nothing for Scotland this weekend, I think.
I think Clark will be wily enough, by the way, to mitigate what I said. He's spent so much of his, I was going to say career, so much of his life in England. And not just that, his time, particularly with clubs like Chelsea and whatnot, he'll have seen it from the other side. So he'll have been the bigger team that's expected to win and have, so he'll be saying, we're going to need to keep our heads here. We need to actually go into this quite tactically, but obviously be passionate, be motivated, be all those things, give all your energy and so on and so forth. But be disciplined. And I do think he will. I think he's a wily operator. I thought he was a good coach at West Ham, to be fair, under Zola. I still thought he was a good coach. So, I think he's got a lot to offer. It should be a really, really good game.
Any final words? Can I get a score prediction from you, please?
No, I think I've said enough words on it, really. And the score prediction, I'm going to go with an England win. I'm actually going to go with 1-0 again. I don't, because I'm not convinced.
I'm going to say 0-0. I'm going to say 0-0. I think because that would be a good result for us. Because I think, like I said, it then takes us down. It takes us to Hampden. We get to play at home against Croatia.
Sure.
Beat them, 4 points. That will be enough to finish third, probably. And that will probably be enough to get us through into the top 4 third place teams into the next round, which would be unbelievable for us, really. I think I'm going to go 0-0 because I think defensively we can be switched on. They took a fantastic goal from Czech Republic to open it, then took a ridiculous goal to make it 2-0. And that just took the wind out of our sail because I thought we played well in the second half until that second goal. And I felt that killed us a little bit. I thought it killed the fans. I actually think playing away might benefit Scotland. If we can just keep England out for 20, half an hour, and hopefully the fans will get a bit quiet, not grumpy, but hopefully they just quieten down a little bit. And there'll be plenty of Scotland fans in there as well, making a back as well. And I actually just hope it helps because when Czech made it 2-0, the crowd went like that. The crowd just went, because they were shocked. They literally just saw a ball flying from 50 yards and thought, like I was doing it. I was sat on my sofa, I was slouched, thinking, how on earth he just scored from there? Like, you could have probably heard my heart break from the next door. So I've got a feeling playing away might actually benefit Scotland on Friday. So I'm going to say England 0, Scotland 0. There you have it. There's our preview. That was a weird preview, weren't it? It's the first time we've ever had to do 2 lineups in a preview.
Yeah, yes, it just. Yeah. And
anyway.
I asked you how you were feeling about it, yeah.
Anyway, we've got the breakfast show for the patrons on Friday morning. We've got the player ratings for the patrons Friday evening. Got the match review today. Gonzo will be doing watch along. I might join him occasionally for the watch along. I'll join you at halftime. I promise you I'll come on at halftime regardless. Okay, especially if Scotland are winning. Then I'll definitely be on.
Oh, yeah, you'll be doing the second half. I'll go off sulking, yeah.
So Gonzo will be doing a watch along over on the Forum channel. All the links that you need are in the description below. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you on Friday night.